not to hand over your livelihood and become dependent on a man.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a great one.
But there are definitely similarities with the daughters, and that the affections, demanding affection and love, the distrust of the people around him, and looking out for himself.
And if you want a sense of how cold, one of the main attractions of Halifax, Nova Scotia is the fact that the Titanic sank not that far from there, and that we all know because of icebergs. So when it's cold, it is very cold.
Several. I mean, so much of it resonated for me, and how I didn't just see Carrie, my character, but the whole world and how it functioned as this living, breathing organism. That was appealing to me as an ensemble.
I was excited, just even the opening scene where you see all of the sisters together for real for the first time when they're sitting around the fire pit, and with the Beacon Hill Tradwife and talking about Salty Dan, and how one of the writers had mentioned that the way they speak to each other is like you're either laughing with them or they're like poking. They know how to poke each other's bruises, and all within the same conversation. And I don't have sisters, but I've seen friends with sisters interact like this, so I was very excited to finally poke and play but get a sense of who they were.
Definitely. Yeah, that combination of humor and cruelty felt really delicious as an actor. And I like to think that I'm nothing at all like my character, because she's a bit of a monster sometimes, but I really love her and loved playing her. And she's, the dynamic, especially between the three of us, was so much fun.
It's sort of fun to be the one who gets to be the power. It's not, he's not always the nicest guy, but he believes he is, and he believes he's doing the right thing, and that's really what I had to do, was really do what I think is the right thing, and that's take care of my family. So I don't want to think about it really as being sort of a bad guy or the power guy, but as the guy who's really taking care of the people he loves.
And David was so had so much presence. It was very, very easy to be at a dinner scene and catch a nasty look of Harris across the table and just be present and accept those daggers and react accordingly. It was awesome to experience.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, all the locations were incredibly beautiful, but also at times challenging, verging on harmful. We started filming up in Halifax in May, and in bathing suits and sheer dresses, and it's very cold. And so in spite of the grandeur and the beauty, there was a visceral discomfort.
You can't tell.
Yes.
That's how talented we are.
Yes.
That's what they do too, is mask what they're actually experiencing.
Yep.
And if you want a sense of how cold, one of the main attractions of Halifax, Nova Scotia is the fact that the Titanic sank not that far from there, and that we all know because of icebergs. So when it's cold, it is very cold. So that was probably the most challenging acting, was to look warm.
However, none of us, I think this is true, had to actually get in the water.
Yes.
So we were very strategically smart there.
Well, we got off.
We got really lucky.
Yes, we got to sip pretend wine on the beach, like the sophisticated ladies that we are.
But it's such a staggeringly beautiful place, Nova Scotia. And there were so many days where the weather would change. And we were outside for most of the summer, I think, largely. And it was a very special place to shoot.
We did discuss it. It's it's suggested in the book, the first book. We see it a lot in the second book. For myself, I had to kind of invent for myself a history of the trauma, that Harris's own trauma, the thing why he wanted this island to be so perfect, and why he has kind of rules for behavior. And where did those all come from? Why do we have to, put our shoulders back and chin up and all that stuff? Put on a good face, smile, all of that. And I really thought a lot about his own childhood and what that would have been, and how this island is really a response to the trauma he felt in his own childhood.
And I'm obviously, Ed's not a Sinclair. We don't have a lot of backstory for him, other than his brother passing away, and then him taking care of Gat. But in speaking to generational trauma, I think with Ed, he has to be very careful, because it starts with him, this family, and how he deals with the microaggressions and the clash of culture and things like that. How he acts and how he deals with it is informing Gat, because Gat is ultimately in a similar situation to him with Cadence, and he holds up a mirror for Gat to sort of, do you want to experience? Are you happy to stay with someone and be a part, like, even though the family might be necessarily hostile towards you and who you are? And I think where Ed's slightly different is that he communicates with Gat. He's trying to maybe make sure that Gat doesn't necessarily make the same mistakes he does, and caution him into what he's, be a bit more of a guidance towards him, and make sure that, and also kind of encouraged him to not have to endure what he's enduring, and to stand up for himself.
Not to hand over your livelihood and become dependent on a man.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a great one. And that things don't provide happiness. Materialistic items will not fulfill you. And those trophies that you chase don't always feel like winning when you get them.
That's a good one. If you have to choose between staying with a toxic family or going after the love of your life, choose the love. My lesson.
Wow. Yeah. These are good. These are good. We're going to just collect these into,
Yeah,
Above.
Yeah.
Matriarchy, more matriarchy, less patriarchy.
Yes, basically. That's the name of the book that you'll be writing. Yeah.
I'm afraid of giving away the story here, but it happens pretty quick in the second episode. The relationship between Harris and his wife, Tipper, who he just completely adores. It's really just a pure love for her. And something happens to her that everything changes for him. Life on the island changes for him. His relationship with the family changes for him. And that, when I first read the script, it didn't hit me as much as when we actually did it. And I give Wendy, who played Tipper, credit for that. She's absolutely fantastic. So that relationship with her.
And for me, I was just going to say, the scenes that were important to me and gave me a lot of context to who Ed was are he has a couple of one-on-one scenes with Gat where he coaches him and listens to what Gat has to say, and he sheds a little bit of light about himself, and kind of you get a little bit of Ed's worldview through these kind of almost rocky speeches to Gat. So they were great clues for me as to what Ed is feeling and how and why he is patient and deals with what he deals with without, because I obviously wouldn't stand for it for a second. But I could understand why Ed did through those speeches.
Bess's favorite thing on the island is the wine,
But that's true for
is the rosé.
all of, certainly my character as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I think yes. I think our sisters really bond over that.
For me.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, and then
Shame.
my personal was The View. I mean, even just being able to rewatch the show, I kept finding myself saying, like, I want to go to there. Like, I want to, and I was there, and I want to be there again. It was truly just as beautiful as it looks on the screen. It really was beautiful. So many of the
Breathtaking.
days we were there.
Yep.
You should watch it because, well, and also Indonesia is very beautiful, but like this is also, it's a very beautiful backdrop. There's a mystery, there's twists, there's turns, there's
Darkness, light, yeah.
This is intriguing, it's revealing, it's withholding.
young love. Like it truly will make you remember the first time you fell in love when you were a teenager. And it's sexy, and it's brooding, and it's fun, and it's happy, and it's sad. It's all the things.
All the words.
All the words.